Hey guys, Cohen Academy here. Here to do a review of the RPM Friction Pro. Um, I'll leave my code in the description. It's Jared15 for 15% off. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased with this review because I was actually hired as the head of sales for them. But I did play a part in making the paddle. I actually came up with this whole design. So reviewers, if you don't like it, then it's on me. So I'm actually really excited about how it came out, how it looks, how it plays. Um, to me, I think this paddle is really good for someone that likes a more powerful paddle. I don't think it's the most powerful paddle on the market. I haven't used like the Flick, but I think that's more powerful. The Boomstick, I think, definitely has a little bit more pop, maybe a little more power too. I think this has a touch more power than the Yola Pro 4 series. That's probably the paddle that it's most similar to in terms of play characteristics. And I definitely think it has more power than the True Foams or the Franklin C45 series. So those are paddles that I've hit with a lot. So it's easier for me to make comparisons with those. Um, One thing you'll notice about the paddle is that a lot of these brands nowadays are really skimping out on the grit. They're afraid to go over the limit. We went right up to the limit. I mean, you can just hear the grit. I mean, this paddle is super gritty. I mean, obviously it's still legal, but it's like right up on that limit. I can't say who, but we worked with some of the top pros in the world that are going to be using this paddle. So this isn't just some random company. I mean, it's really designed for the players at the top of the game to perform their best with it. So nothing crazy on the shape. It's just a typical 16.5 by 7.5 elongated shape, 5.5-inch handle. I'm sure it looks longer, but it really goes to here, my grip. I just always grip it as high as I can on the over grip. I learned that from Ben. But, comfortable for two-handed backhands. I mean, I don't have the most massive hands, but it's the same as I know a lot of companies list it differently, but I bet you if you lined up Franklin, Yola, maybe even a TKO, CX, I really think they're all even engaged. They're really all about the same, whether they list at 5, 5.7, 5.7, 5.6. It's really they just measure it at different spots when they list it, but it's plenty long. So we're going to have this in a 14 and 16, in both elongated and wide body. So today I'm just going to review the elongated 14 and 16. So this is actually the 14. I've got 0.5 gram per inch lead here and up top. So it totals out to 8.4 ounces with the overgrip. To me, this little bit on top, it gives a little more power, which I like, but it still doesn't feel slow in the hands at all. Still feels plenty fast in the hands. People are actually shocked that it looks like there's a lot more lead on there than there is, just because this is very low density lead. So I think I like to do that because I feel like you don't have to be quite as accurate as those 3 gram little sticky things. I think characteristics about the paddle people are really going to like. It spins super well. I mean, part of that's the grit, part of that's the core. The feel is excellent. It's more of that Gen 3 type of feel. Maybe not quite as hollow as a Boomstick, but similar to a Broken In Pro 4. A lot of these Gen 3 paddles are starting to sound similar like that. The big decision is 14 versus 16. I think they're both really good. I think if you want a little more power and plow through, just really solid, balls penetrating through the court, I would look at the 16. If you want something that's a little more customizable with the lead, or you can definitely put plenty of lead on the 16, but I think the 14, you definitely have an option to put a little more, depending on how much power you want. I think the 14 isn't quite as powerful, maybe similar pop, a little bit faster in the hands, maybe a little quicker at the net, and by no means is the 16 a sluggish paddle. I just think the 14 just feels like a blade, like a feather. I think there is a real thing, and I'll give credit to Pickleball Effect on this, where 14s tend to have a lower launch angle. When you're hitting drives, the ball's going more tight to the net. So more of my misses with the 14 go in the net, and with the 16, it's a little loopier, and I tend to, balls get away from me. If I miss, I go long. And I would say the 16 has a little bit more dwell time, a little bit more of a plush feel. But I mean, I think they're fairly similar paddles. I think if you want something, a little higher on the power end, then you go 16. If you want something with good power, but not quite as much, I actually like the 14 because I can always get a little more power with this. And I find my speed ups off the bounce staying in a little bit more with the 14, and it gives me a little more confidence to really swing out on my serves, so that way they still stay in the court. I think where you play in the country and what ball you use may also play a part in this, where I think if we were playing like in 95 degrees with a Franklin, I'm probably going to grab the 16 and let it up. If we're playing in 40 degrees with the Dura or Vulcan or the Lifetime, I mean, I'm probably going to use the 14, and I may even take this lead off. I think you can't go wrong with either paddle. I think if you're currently using a 14, just go 14. If you're currently using a 16, like a Perseus 16, I think the 16 is just more of a natural transition. I think the biggest difference between these paddles and the Pro 4s is you're going to get more spin with this, more grit. And I think it has that dwelly Gen 3 type of feel right out of the box. It doesn't really require much of a break-in at all. And some people say it has a little more pop, a little more power. I don't know if the sweet spot is more, but it's at least the same. It's a similar type of construction. You've got that, foam around the perimeter and honeycomb in the center. We went for an ultra durable core. That way, we don't want to have core crushing issues. I mean, obviously that could happen with any paddle, but I've been beating on these, and I'm a fairly hard hitter for the past month or two with the 14 and 16, and I haven't had any issues with it. And I have had issues with several of the other paddles in the past. So I think you'll really like this paddle. It's going to retail for $250. My code gives you 15% off. We're going to only order 750 of these paddles between the elongated and the wide body shapes. So I would go ahead and buy one before it sells out. I mean, we'll order another batch right away, but I would hate for you to really want this paddle and you hold off a couple days and then it's sold out. So I've been told that we're going to get them in about 2 weeks, optimistically 10 days, but we'll see. So I would go ahead and order one online. And if you have any questions, feel free to DM me, Cohen_Academy on Instagram, or shoot a message in the comments. I'll add my email in there as well. Happy to answer any questions, and I also have a bunch of gameplay of both the 14 and the 16 on Instagram and YouTube. I think I slightly prefer the 14, but I played in a money ball yesterday, or I guess it was 2 days ago, with the 16 because I let a guy in warm-ups use the 14 and he liked it so much, so I just let him use it. But I think, I could go easily into a tournament today with either one. I think they're both excellent. I think if you're using the 16, you just have to maybe take a little bit off on your drives and just be mindful of, some of them might sail. But man, if you get a high ball, I mean, it kind of reminds me of when I had my gearbox. You can just absolutely destroy the ball. And for 14, I think it's great. If you're not feeling quite as confident, you want to be able to swing through the ball a little more. I think it's more forgiving in terms of, not hitting it long with the 14. But again, both great paddles. Really excited for other people to try it, leave reviews, tell me what they think. So far, I don't think I've given it to a single person where they didn't like the paddle. I mean, that's pretty rare. I mean, everyone kind of has their taste of what they like or don't like. So I think it's going to be a big hit once it gets, across the country into different people's hands. And looking forward to hearing all y'all's opinion about it. All right, well, signing off now. And again, feel free to message me if you have any questions. Take care.